After the chaos of the masked gala, the fallout came hard and fast. Luna's collapse, Electra's breakdown, and the blood on the marble floor had only been the beginning. The real shockwaves came in the hours that followed, when the truth about Will's involvement surfaced, truth that couldn't be buried under press releases or family money this time. Surveillance footage, shaky cell phone videos, and whispers among the elite began to converge into one ugly, undeniable narrative. Will Spencer, heir to the Spencer empire, had not only been intimately involved with Luna the night she was attacked. He had been high. The toxicology reports were leaked within 24 hours. There were traces of MDMA and ketamine in Will's system. The night's chaos wasn't just the result of jealousy or heartbreak, it was drug-fueled recklessness at a party hosted by a Forrester partner, with half the industry's most influential names present. Headlines erupted. Will Spencer implodes at high society event, Spencer legacy tarnished by drugs and death, the fall of the golden boy. Bill Spencer wasted no time. Within hours of the news breaking, he mobilized every legal resource, private investigator, and crisis PR expert in his arsenal. He wasn't just fighting to save his son, he was hunting whoever had set Will up. Because Bill knew one thing for sure, Will didn't bring the drugs. Someone wanted him destroyed. And if that someone was still out there, they'd regret it. Deeply. He started pulling strings behind the scenes, digging into guest lists, bar service contracts, camera angles. What he found was a tangle of manipulation too deliberate to be random. There were gaps in security footage, anonymous bar staff who disappeared, and party guests with criminal records tied to distribution. The more he dug, the clearer it became. This wasn't a bad decision. It was a hit. Someone had orchestrated Will's fall, using Luna's return and the drama between Electra and the Forresters as a smokescreen. And Bill wanted blood. Meanwhile, Lee was facing her own reckoning. Luna was alive, barely. Saved by Finn's last-minute blood donation, she was now stabilized but silent, physically healing but mentally shattered. And the scandal surrounding her reappearance wasn't helping. Her photo was splashed across tabloids again, not as a victim, but as a villain. People speculated whether she'd faked her death for attention or worse, for revenge. The truth, nuanced and tangled in decades of buried secrets, didn't matter anymore. Perception was reality, and reality was damning. Lee wanted out. For Luna. For herself. She saw the writing on the wall. The city was ready to consume Luna again, and this time it wouldn't spit her out. She approached Finn, asked him to consider relocating Luna under a new identity, even if it meant cutting her off from everyone, including him. But Finn hesitated. He had just learned he had a daughter. He had just saved her. He wasn't ready to lose her again, especially not now, when she was most vulnerable. Then Sheila intervened. She showed up unannounced, as always, with a sickening calm in her voice and a glint of opportunity in her eyes. She had been keeping tabs. Watching. Waiting. And now she saw her moment to re-enter the game with leverage no one else had. She walked into Lee's office like she owned it, tossed a folder on the desk, and said one word: leverage. Inside were texts, videos, and screenshots, proof that Will had been targeted. Proof that Luna had been framed as bait. But also damning evidence that she hadn't come back entirely innocent. Luna had been in contact with people who had motive, who had criminal pasts, and who had ties to Sheila herself. How much Luna knew, no one could say. But Sheila could spin it either way, and she made her pitch clear. I give this to Bill Spencer, she said, and he's indebted to me. Or I give it to the press, and he's destroyed. Lee, horrified, tried to resist. You'd burn Luna to hurt the Spencers? But Sheila just smiled. I'll do whatever I need to survive. And maybe Luna should learn that too. Lee realized then this wasn't about Luna anymore. This was about control. About influence. About who would shape Luna's future. The woman who raised her in quiet desperation, or the woman who saw her as a pawn in a much larger game. The matriarch war had begun. Lee versus Sheila. Redemption versus corruption. Order versus chaos. And Luna, confused, damaged, teetering between trauma and awakening, was caught in the middle. In the days that followed, Luna began to speak again. In fragments at first. Memories. Regrets. Names. She asked for Will. She cried for Finn. But when she saw Sheila's face in her hospital room, something changed. A flicker of something darker passed over her expression. Not fear. Recognition. Sheila knew what it meant. So did Lee. Luna remembered something. Something important. Maybe something dangerous. The war escalated. Lee tried to whisk Luna away, arguing that recovery couldn't happen under media siege. Sheila countered by planting stories in the tabloids, painting Luna as the true victim of a generational cover-up. She presented herself as the only person willing to tell Luna the truth. And slowly, disturbingly, Luna began listening. Finn was torn. Watching his mother and Sheila rip Luna in opposite directions was destroying him. He saw pieces of himself in his daughter, his loyalty, his guilt, his need to belong. But he also saw something else, a shadow creeping in. Luna was becoming harder, colder, more calculating. Then came the bombshell. A video surfaced, unverified, anonymous, but damning. It showed Luna weeks before the party, in a dim room, talking to someone off camera. Her words were clear. He won't see it coming. I'll make Will fall so hard, he won't know what hit him. Lee denied its authenticity. Sheila claimed it was proof of intent. Finn didn't know what to believe. And Bill? Bill went silent. Which, for him, was worse than rage. The Spencers began closing ranks. They filed injunctions, froze accounts, silenced press with legal threats. But the story wouldn't die. And Luna's image shifted overnight from tragic survivor to femme fatale. Sheila offered Bill a deal: bury the footage, silence the noise, and she'd hand over the rest of the data on one condition. He'd owe her a debt. No strings now, but a favor to be named later. Bill, against every instinct, accepted. To protect Will. To keep the brand alive. But deep down, he knew what that meant. He had let a viper in the gate. Now the battlefield is set. Luna is out of the hospital, but under protection. Lee wants to move her to a remote facility, far from LA. Sheila wants her in the spotlight, molded into something new, something dangerous. Finn wants to pull her back, keep her human, keep her his. And Luna? She stands in the center, silent, watching. She has seen the worst of everyone. The lies. The fear. The power plays. And maybe now she's ready to choose. Not redemption. Not darkness. But control. One decision. One move. And the war for Luna's soul reaches its breaking point. After the bloody chaos of the gala, when Luna's battered body was carted away and the whispers began spreading like wildfire, Electra should have been the victim. She was the one who had cracked, whose jealousy exploded in a public act of violence. She was the one who, drunk and distraught, had brought a bottle down on someone's skull. But as the dust settled, the city's gaze shifted. People started asking questions. And when the hospital reports leaked that Luna had survived, if only barely, attention turned to someone else entirely. Electra. The evidence wasn't solid. Not yet. The lights were dim, the crowd distracted, and the party soaked in chaos. But there were photos. Footage. A trail of digital crumbs left behind that didn't exactly clear her name. Broken glass on her dress. Red wine stains that weren't just wine. A scream caught in someone's TikTok live stream. The internet, always thirsty for blood, began circling. And Electra realized quickly, if she didn't act, she'd be crucified in the court of public opinion before anyone even pressed charges. The PR team dropped her. Her deals stalled. Forrester Creations issued a statement distancing themselves from all individuals involved in the unfortunate events of the gala. Electra was being erased, deleted before she could explain. And in that silence, panic gave way to desperation. But Electra had something the others didn't. She was smart, and she knew how to dig. She turned to the one place people always left their secrets behind, the internet. She scoured Luna's old accounts, burner profiles, deleted tags. The deeper she dove, the stranger it got. Luna had more aliases than Electra expected. There were blurred connections to people with criminal records, cryptic posts about second chances, and unfinished business. Then, buried in a forgotten forum Luna once frequented, Electra found it. A photo, poorly cropped, low resolution, but unmistakable. Luna in the background of a dated image. And in the foreground? Sheila Carter. That name, that face, that legacy. Even Electra knew the stories. Sheila wasn't just a criminal, she was a legend in LA's darkest circles. Ties to murder, kidnapping, manipulation. A reputation for surviving anything and turning anyone into a weapon. If Luna had a connection to Sheila, the implications were explosive. Electra didn't know what she had stumbled into, but it was bigger than anything she'd ever touched. And suddenly, her choices multiplied. Option 1. Go to Forrester. Drop the bomb in exchange for a comeback. Paint herself as the victim who discovered the truth. Maybe even land a contract, an endorsement, a redemption arc. The Forresters loved drama as long as it came with loyalty. She could spin this, become the new face of resilience. Wounded, misunderstood, and now reborn. Option 2. Go darker. Call Bill Spencer. The man who controlled headlines. The one who would pay anything to bury Will's scandal and destroy anyone threatening his son's name. Electra had something Bill would kill to possess: leverage. With proof of Luna's link to Sheila, she could make herself indispensable. No longer a socialite clinging to relevance, but a player in the most dangerous game in town. She sat on it for hours, pacing her apartment, red-eyed, chain-smoking, rehearsing both phone calls. Her phone buzzed constantly: journalists, fans, former friends. Everyone wanted a piece. But Electra didn't move. She knew this was her moment. One decision, and everything changed. And in the quiet of 2:47 a.m., she picked up the phone, not to call Forrester, not yet, but to call her lawyer. She needed protection, power, and the ability to move the chessboard, not just react to it. By sunrise, she had a strategy. She wiped her socials clean. Posted a single photo, herself in silhouette, captioned, "Watch this space." The buzz started instantly. The girl who had cracked at the gala was no longer hiding. She was teasing. And, just like that, Electra began reshaping her narrative, not as the woman who lost it, but as the one who knew everything and still had the upper hand. Whispers leaked that she had exclusive information on Luna's reappearance. That she might be working with someone powerful. That she had, in fact, been a victim of manipulation herself. Bill caught wind of it quickly. He didn't reach out directly. He never did. But one of his people did. A woman in a black car, waiting outside Electra's building the next afternoon. She rolled the window down just enough and said, "Mr. Spencer respects what you've done. He's interested in how you intend to use it." Electra didn't answer. Not at first. She handed the woman an envelope with a flash drive inside and said, "Tell him this is just the start." Then she walked away. By evening, Bill had everything: the image, the forum thread, the metadata. Proof that Luna and Sheila had crossed paths before the gala. That Luna may have been more than just a tragic victim. That she could be part of something much larger, something orchestrated. He didn't trust Electra, but he respected the move. And he knew she was dangerous now, which made her useful. He didn't offer money. He offered reach, influence, safety, if she played by his rules. But Electra wasn't looking to play. She was looking to rewrite the rules completely. The next week, she surfaced at a fashion event wearing white, standing in front of cameras, answering no questions. The paparazzi were out of their minds. The image of her, composed, unbothered, radiant, was splashed across every tabloid with headlines like Electra, from breakdown to breakout, and the Gala Girl returns. With secrets, asterisk asterisk. Inside sources hinted she had met with producers, that she might be launching a podcast, a memoir, even her own fashion line. And always, always, the question lingered, what did she really know about Luna? The truth was more than anyone suspected. Because Electra hadn't just uncovered the Luna-Sheila connection, she had begun to map it. She was building a timeline, assembling the puzzle. And the closer she looked, the more it all began to reek of strategy. Luna hadn't stumbled back into town. She had been placed. By who? Why? That was the next story. And Electra would be the one to tell it. Not for justice. Not even for revenge. But because she'd been cast aside too many times. Treated like a side character in someone else's saga. Now she had the microphone. The secrets. The eyes of a city. And in a town built on reinvention, Electra was ready to become LA's next it girl, not by accident, but by design. She wasn't the victim. She was the survivor. The storyteller. And maybe the queenmaker.